Hi friends, Shannon here, Cards by Shannon Lee. Today I am going to show you how to create this wreath with minimal fumbling of the little parts and pieces so that you can easily put it together without the usual difficulties that you have when you're fumbling with a bunch of die cuts. What I'm using today is the Festive Christmas arrangement, and here's that die set, and it has the pine sprigs, the layers for the pine cone, some holly leaves, a bow with layers. It has a total of 3 layers. There's little holly berries, but I'm not going to use that. Instead, I'm going to use this berry branch and color them like juniper berries. And then I'm using from the layered Christmas bauble, I'm using the one of the candies, and there's 2 layers for that one. So let's get started with some Copic coloring of my little pieces. Now I'm going to use a total of, for the juniper berry, the pine branch, and the holly leaf, I'm using a total of 7 of those. I'm using 3 of the candies and 3 of the pine cones and 1 of the big bow. And so we're going to start out with, let me grab my markers here. Let's start out with the pine branch, and let me grab the correct markers. And we are going to use BG96, BG93, and BG90. Let's push these other ones aside. And there we go. Starting with our darkest, the BG96, I'm going to put down heavy color in the center, bring it up towards the top, and then come kind of towards out a little in the middle, just making sure to get all the sides of the little branches there. Then with BG93, we're just going to extend that color out. Very simple coloring today. Whoopsie. Go back and forth so I get all the sides of those little branches. And then blend it all out with the BG90. Oops. Very simple coloring. And if I'm posting this today, I'm not sure if I'm posting it today or tomorrow. Today is Friday, November 21st, and Katscrappiness is having a major sale today, a pre-Black Friday sale, and it is 30% off everything in the store. So I think it's early BF 30 is the discount code. The code is on the website, so I'll leave a link in the description box below for the store and the discount code. Okay, next for our juniper branch is E57, E55, and then for the berries we're going to do BG78, BG75, and BG72. So starting with the darkest is the E57. I'm going to come underneath the branches and along the side of them, just leaving enough room for the second color. So that was E57. Next is E55, and I'm just going to blend that out, making sure to get all the sides of the die cut. Copic coloring doesn't have to be difficult. You don't have to use 4 colors every time you create a blend. Using just 2 or 3 colors will really improve the look of your coloring versus just a single color. Okay, this is BG78. I'm going to come underneath the berry and along the side. I have 2 more colors I'm going to use, so I want to make sure I leave room for 2 colors. So the darkest is going to be underneath. That's creating the lightest spot towards the top. Towards the top right, I should say. Oh, I'm sorry, top left. Top left. Yeah, I'm an adult. I can tell my right and my left from each other. Okay, BG75. We're just going to go all the way around that berry, leaving a little space for a highlight color in the middle. All the way around, all the way around. Going over that initial color so it'll blend together. But leaving a little bit of area for our final color, the BG72. And just go over that a couple times on each berry, blending it all together. And we're going to go over the berries with some stickles after I complete the card. So you're not going to be able to see a lot of the coloring. Okay, next we'll do the pine cone, and then we're going to use E59, E57, and E55, starting with the E59. Under each of these little openings, well, actually I'm going to start on the outside edge, and everywhere it dips in, I'm going to put a little bit of color. Just emphasizing the dips, or the divots, or whatever you want to refer to them as. And then on the bottom section of each of the openings, I'm going to add more of the dark color. Flip that around so I can get the other ones. There we go. And then with E57, we're just going to I'm going to go all the way around the outside. And then in each of those openings, I'm going to go all the way around the inside of each of the openings. And sometimes when you blend out your colors, it's nice to go over your coloring a second time, just to so you don't wash out all of your dark color. But I won't do that on camera today. Then with the chisel end of my E55, I'm just going to go over the entire thing and blend it all together. And I use my chisel end just to prevent fraying on my bullet or my brush nib, because there's so many openings on all the edges of the paper. The more you brush the edges of the paper with your brush nib, the more likely it is to fray. So I'm going to set that aside. Then we're going to, with the E59, I'm just going to go over the underside layer of the pine cone. Make sure to get all of the edges so we don't have any white edges on our pine cone. There we go, nice and dark. And so when we put that together, you have a nice colored pine cone. And we'll glue that together in just a second. Okay, next our holly leaf. We're going to use 4 colors on this one. And those colors are G29, G46, G21, and G20. Starting with the G29, there's an embossed line down the center and 3 little offshoots on each side of that embossed line. And I'm just going to color part of that, and we're going to extend it with the next color. I'm going to go through the center, bring that all the way down to the bottom, and it's okay if it's a little sloppy. I'm not very neat with my coloring, and I have shaky hands, and that's the reason why I'm not very neat and precise with my coloring. So we just create that first bold line. Then with the E46, I'm going to pull that out to the end of the embossed lines. And then we're going to add some additional little veins in between each of those. Give it some more detail. And next with the G21, going to pull all that out again And anywhere I can fit another, like a little swish of a color in between that, I'm going to do that also. Try to make those lines real fine though. Pull that dark color out. Blend up the middle of that center vein. Looks like we forgot one over here. There we go. And blend that all out with the G20. I'm going to try not, I'm going to come from the outside in. Try not to blend out that real dark color. I want to keep my detail. That's why I'm starting from the outside coming in. Go in between those dark swooshes. There we go. And there's our holly leaf. And next we're going to do our little candy. And the colors we're using for that are R59, R56, and R85. Starting with the R59. I'm going to go in between each of the openings. On the outside edge, I'm going to color that solid just above the opening. And then in the opening, I'm just going to bring my brush in between and let it soak up some of that ink. Do that all the way around the little candy, the little peppermint. If you haven't already, I would appreciate if you give me a thumbs up, to like the video, and subscribe to Scrappiness channel. We appreciate all the support that we get from this crafty community. Next is R56, and I'm going to go all the way around the outside, and then on each of those little spirally things, well, in the center first, I'm going to go around the center, leaving a little bit for our lightest color. Then on each of these wedges, I'm going to just extend out that darker color, leaving room for our highlight color. There we go. And then with our last color, the R85, I'm just going to blend out from the center, creating that highlight color. On each of those wedges. There we go. And with the underlayer, I'm going to take my R56 and I'm just going to go around the outside so that we don't have white showing when we layer up the top layer on our candy. And this is how our peppermint will look. And push that aside. And we'll start with the layer for the top layer. Now I wanted to show you, there are in the die set, there is the little knot layer, there's the bottom layer, and then there's a top layer that shows all of this detail and these stripes. I'm not using the top layer with the details and the stripes. I'm going to create my own detail, but I did want to show you what it looks like when you do layer it up with the top, with the stripe detail. This I use the Katscrappiness, I think it's the Christmas glitter paper pack with the gold. It has gold, red, green, and gold. And I use the gold and the darker of the red to create that bow. So that's just a sample of what it looks like if you choose to use that top color. But I'm going to start with this little knot, and let's see, which way does it go? It starts this way. I'm using those same reds that I used on the candy, starting with the R59, and I'm going to, where it dips in right here, I'm going to give it a little swish inward, and then I'm going to go all the way around it with this dark color. And there's a little dip in on the bottom. We'll give it just a little swish in. Coloring all the way around. Oops. Red ink is always sticky. all the way around with that dark color. I think we'll bring this in a little bit further. There we go. Then R56, we're just going to bring that color in further. All the way around the knot. And blend that out with the R85. Set that aside. And then for our very large bow, we are going to, where the knot is in the center, I'm going to outline it with the darkest R59. And where the two ribbons split, I'm going to bring the dark color down, and then on the inside of this ribbon here, a little bit more where it kind of curves in. Bring that color down towards the end. And then the same on the other side, or on the other ribbon tail. Bring that down. On each side of the bows, I'm going to, from where the knot ends here, I'm going to put my brush down and flick out. Bring that little, I guess you could call them creases, the creases in the bow. I'm going to put some dark color here where it dips in. Actually, just bring it all the way to the center. Do the same over here. Then on the sides where it dips in. And again over here. Oopsie, that's not how I wanted that to go, but we'll fix that. There we go. On the underside of the bow, because that would be shadowed if the light was coming from the top. And same on the underside over here. And then where it dips in over here, I'm going to put a little bit of color, a little kind of a U, just emphasizing that dip. Bring that up a little bit more. I think we're going to put a little bit of dark color here. Not all the way down though. And then where it kind of curves in right here, we're going to add a little more dark color. A little bit here. There we go. Now with the R56, I don't know why I want to keep saying E. I'm going to bring this, oh, I forgot the knot is going to go on top, the knot layer, so I'm just going to blend out around the knot area and bring out these swishes a little bit further, and then just kind of go all the way around the underside. Extend this color a little bit all the way around, and then I'm not going to come across the top very much, but I am going to blend this area out just a little bit. That's where the light would hit the most. So I'm going to come in on this dip a little bit. There we go. Let's turn it this way and do the same thing. Bring those little folds out, blend out this color underneath, move this around, come around, blend this color, emphasize that indentation a little bit more, emphasize this one a little bit more, and bring this up just a little bit more, blend that out. And then go over the dark color here, drag it down just a little bit further. And just go over what I've already put, the color, dark color that I've already put down. Just kind of blending that. Same here, but I don't want to go all the way over that little bump there because I want to make it look like it's kind of got a wave in it. Okay, I think we're good, and I think we're ready for our last color, and that's the R85. And then we're just going to blend all of this together. Probably should have put some dark color there, but I'm just going to leave it the way it is. There's a big space between these colors, so I have to do quite a bit of blending to get them to look cohesive. There we go, and the same on the other side, and we're almost done with our coloring. I like to come in between the swishes, kind of lighten those up, but try to keep the ends of those lines as solid as possible. I want to keep that dark color, show that detail. Over this a little bit more. It looks like we have. I may go over this again off screen, just repeat the process to bring out that detail a little more. I'll be right back. I'm going to clean this up and we're going to put together our card. Now what I'm going to do, and this is the part that makes it easier to manage, is I'm going to create these little clusters like I've done already with these 5. And I start out by arranging my orientation, and I go with my glue press, and I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to the bottom of the stem here. And then I put my cluster together. Add the 3 components of my cluster. Whoopsie, it stuck to me. And then give it a little pinch at the end. Make sure everything is arranged the way I want it. Make sure there's no sticky glue at the bottom, and I just set it on my card base, or my card front I should say. And I'll do it one more time, show you how I create those little clusters. A little bit of glue at the stem, add my pine branch, and then my holly, if I can pick it up. My nails are so short right now. Okay, give it a little squish. Oh, stuck to the paper, and pick that up, and I'll kind of move that around so it's to my liking. There we go. I think this one goes up farther. And then we're going to take our clusters, and I'm going to add them. First I'm going to add the bow. Move these out of the way a little bit. And I'm only going to add glue to the center, the back of the knot of the bow. And add that to the top center of my card. I like the tops of the bow to overlap my mat. Just push that down until it grabs hold. And now I'm going to, what I do when I create a wreath is I kind of arrange it how I want it, and then I do the 2 top segments. Oh, I forgot to curl my bow. Let's see if I can do that while it's just pinching it, give it a little bend, pushing down on the knot, push it with my fingers underneath the bow, and pulling with my thumb over the top to give it a little bend. And I'll put some foam dots underneath that when I'm ready to go. But when I glue my clusters down, I'm only going to glue the bottom base of my cluster. And that is so that I can stuff the other parts underneath the cluster So we want that to come right about here, right about the center of our card, overlapping our mat a little bit. Get under there. There we go. Hold that down. Now we'll do this one here. Just glue at the base, the bottom of the base, and push that down. Just have that underneath the bow just a bit. And then I'm going to start filling that in all the way around, leaving a little bit of space between the holly leaves so that I can get the pine cones and the candy in. Oh, I think I need to space this out a little bit more. Come on up. There we go. Got enough glue on you? Okay. Grab my next cluster. Glue at the base. And space that in the middle there. And let's do we have too many? Nope, don't. This guy here, more glue at the base. Tuck the tip of that underneath that bow. Press that down. And then fill in the rest of the wreath. And now we'll just take the candies and the pine cones and we'll alternate them through the wreath, tucking it underneath and overlapping the next little segment or little cluster. And then a candy. I forgot to mention, this wreath is inspired by a wreath by a card that was created by one of my team members, Julie Patton. She is one of the most talented card makers. She takes Copic coloring to the next level, but she doesn't do videos. She just does blog posts. So if you look at the Katscrappiness blog, you can find some of her work. Just about done here. And then for my sentiment, I just created a sentiment on Microsoft Word, and we're just going to tuck that in here in the center of our wreath. And we are just about done here. Sorry for the super long video, but I did want you to see all the steps on how I create this card. And here's our sentiment. I'm going to add glue to the back. Probably should have tested it first. Oh well. Flying by the seat of my pants, as usual. Okay, tuck this under here and poke that. Oh, gosh, see if we can lift that candy a little bit. Yeah, I need to lift that candy a little bit. Use my tweezers to get my candy lifted a little bit. We need some more room for it to tuck under. Try that again. Push that, oopsie, on top of our, oops. I'm struggling, guys. There we go. I think I'm going to have to kind of bend this a little bit stick a little foam dot under here so that we can see the rest of the sentiment. There we go. Okay, and foam dots. Try to bend this just a little bit, give it a little bit of a curve, and pop that down under there. Pull the release paper, and then underneath the sides of the bow, another foam dot. Pull the release paper, push that down. I need one more foam dot. So I finished off the card with the white paint pen and I used the white paint pen on the bow and the candies, and some sparkly stickles on the juniper berries. It looks cloudy right now, but it will dry clear and really take on that color that's underneath it. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you spending your time with me. Bye for now.